Do we have a definition today of what a deepfake or a malicious deepfake is?
So in my view, we're getting towards a definition of what a deepfake is. It's part of a broader class of synthetic media, which is audio, video, imagery, and text that's generated with artificial intelligence. But we don't have a good definition of malicious deepfakes. We don't have laws that would indicate what society considers to be inappropriate use of this technology. In the absence of law, we need to turn to ethics to figure out what are moral and ethical uses of this technology.
And I think part of the challenge, you can even see it in the name, malicious deep fake. The malicious part means we have to think about the intentions that people have when they produce the deep fake. It's to do some kind of harm to somebody. And even the fake part, this isn't deep parody or deep spoof. It is something that is trying to produce something that seems real but isn't actually. And so we really have to think about who's being harmed, whose interests are being advanced, and all together bring these together to try and have a characterization of what a malicious deepfake is.
And the deep part is actually about deep neural nets, which is the technology that's used to generate this kind of adversarial network that allows deepfakes to exist.
I think one thing, not to be too doom and gloom, but what feels more worrying about deepfakes compared to something like cybersecurity are the sort of systemic impacts. So when you use a deepfake to change an election outcome or to alter someone's view of a political party, and that can't really be undone. Like if you think about hacking, money is stolen, and that could have tremendous impacts on an individual or a company. But it doesn't necessarily disrupt the fabric of society. And so what's terrifying about deep fakes is the potential for the public to lose trust in media, journalism, politicians, news in general. It's very concerning.
Let's talk about some of the solutions that we have to this challenge of deepfakes. And there are clearly technology, social, and policy solutions. I know from the technology side, I feel like there's an abundance of things that we can do. For instance, we're looking at building a trusted data exchange where we can surface bad actors in a privacy protected way across different platforms. And so if we have 2 or 3 instances of different platforms raising that flag, that they can then, with zero knowledge proofs, again in privacy preserved way, say this entity is the same across these platforms, and en masse a removal or silencing of that person for a particular or entity for a particular period of time. Another thing that we look at is really how do we elevate the attention that we give to a particular individual, or perhaps based on what their recent behaviors have been online or on that platform, and how do we slow the spread of something that they might upload. So instead of it immediately going to all of their friends, maybe it goes to friends after another layer or 2 layers of review and a waiting period of 5 or 10 or 20 minutes. And so there's certainly a number of things that we can do technologically, but I'm also interested in here, from the social side and from the policy side, what are those solutions?
So from the policy side, I think we need policies by social media platforms, internal policies guiding their content moderation. And I also think we need public policies. Both those policies need to have some definition of what appropriate synthetic media deepfakes are and what inappropriate content would be. We also need policies governing what are productive responses to inappropriate content.
And I think on the social side, as we think about society, we can think about the social interactions and the ways, as you were saying, that technology might mediate them. But we can think about, why do people produce these content in the first place? That's not a technological issue, that's a psychological and social issue. And we can think about it the consumption side. How are people affected by these deepfakes, malicious deepfakes? And can we design educational interventions, learning experiences that help people be more resilient to them, to not be affected or influenced by them to the same degree? And I think, what I'm hearing across all 3 of us is that there's a whole suite of things that we can do. It's not just one response. It's not just one intervention, but it's exactly trying to bundle together technological, policy, social, and psychological responses, each of which does a little bit to help address the problem, and together can help us make real traction in addressing this deep challenge.